Hey, hello, and welcome back to my channel. I am Chris, and yes, I have seen Aquaman, and this is going to be my Aquaman review. Just a couple things before I start off. I just want to mention I am not a critic. I guess, if anything, maybe I'm a pundit, though the definition for a pundit says you need to be an expert in a particular subject or field. I'm not saying that I'm an expert in that. This is just my opinion, only my opinion. Second, I'm not here to dissuade anybody from seeing this movie or encourage anybody to see this movie. If you already have a point of view on what you want to do, then do it. And I guess that's the point. Is don't let anyone influence what you want to see. See it, don't see it, whatever. This is just, once again, my opinion. And thirdly, just briefly, just want to mention that I have long boxes. I have comics, and I have a lot of them backlogged that I need to get through. A lot of 50-cent comics that I bought, you know what I mean, in my local hobby shop that I really need to get through. But I have read things like Preacher and Sandman, and of course, X-Men stuff, New Mutants, some of the Infinity Gauntlet things, things sparingly. So I mean, I've read comics, but I am certainly not an expert, certainly not a pundit on that, of course. And there's plenty of other people out there. I know plenty of people that are more knowledgeable than I am. And the reason I even mention that is because I'm gonna give this review based off the 2 hours and some change that I watched, predicated by what James Wan directed, not based off of what they got right or didn't get right, or what they've changed based off of the source material or somebody, a particular artist or writer's run. So this is just this is how I felt. This is my opinion of the 2-hour movie that I watched here. So there that is. And I guess lastly, just really quick, want to mention that as a lot of people, seemingly, and it's not to be cool, it's just, once again, being honest in how I feel, I'm not a fan of the DC universe, the DCEU, what they've done thus far. With a slight exception for Wonder Woman. I thought it was a very good movie, Wonder Woman, very good movie. I didn't think it was as great as some people thought it was, but, I mean, that's neither here nor there. But I do think it was the best movie that they had made thus far. And but it wasn't encouraging me, and I didn't have really any anticipation going into this. I really didn't. It's like if somebody at school kicked you in the side for an entire semester, and then at the end of the semester they put their hand out. I'm like, I'm not taking your hand, sorry. So I didn't really feel, I didn't have any real, like I said, anticipation. So anyway, with that said, what did I think about Aquaman? Stop talking about other stuff. What did I think about this movie? James Wan directed Aquaman. I thought it was good. I thought it was a good movie, and I thought it was, I didn't think it was a great movie either, but I thought it was a great, I'll say great, a great step for DC. I thought it was a really good step. You really felt the James Wan influence, the new breath of fresh air, the new look. Kind of like this new Bumblebee movie, which I haven't seen, but Travis Knight directed it, and of course Bay. Depending on how you felt about the other Transformer movies, it looks like this is going to be a breath of fresh air with this new Bumblebee thing, having another pair of eyes to be in control of this thing, and that's what this movie felt like. So let's say, so as far as the story goes, it was all right. I thought it was a little uninspired. I thought it's a pretty generic story. But it's not the first superhero movie, for that to land in. It's pretty much Patrick Wilson's character, Ocean Master, wants to, and this is a spoiler-free review, by the way, but he's trying to wage war on the on the land, the people on land, and they need someone to stop him. In comes Aquaman, and of course it's a traditional kind of fetch kind of thing, fetch quest kind of story where he's got to go find like this super important object or item to thwart and prevent Ocean Master from taking over land, waging war on the land mass. And, you can pretty much imagine how it turns out. I mean, it's just like anything else. If you go see Ant-Man, more than likely you figure that Ant-Man's probably going to prevail. But with that said, so there that was. But within that was it was a lot of fun. I think that's the greatest thing to say about this that I can come out saying about this movie was how fun it was. And it was fun versus I didn't really have a lot of fun in any of them. That's including Wonder Woman for me. I think I had the most fun here. It was really colorful, as and this is things you've probably seen in the trailer. It was really colorful, kind of had like this Tron kind of vibe to it, and it had humor. Some of it worked, some of it didn't. There's one part at the beginning in a bar, like a seaside pub, that I thought was like, oh goodness, and it turned out to be a pretty funny little scene anyway, that I liked. Well, going to that, the visual effects, they're once again colorful, fun, vibrant. I will say it didn't feel very real. It kind of felt disjointed, like I didn't really believe and buy into the world. But not to a point to where it ruined anything. I mean, I bought into it enough, but back in my head I was like, really? There's all this stuff going on down here underwater. You might feel differently about it. And like I said, it didn't hurt the movie, but I just remember kind of feeling a little disjointed from whenever they went down there. But it was really it was a really inventive kind of world. It really, and that's something to me that was missing in the DC world, was it really felt like, whether you feel the same way I did about Atlantis or not, you could tell these people really put a lot of thought into it and design into it, and the creatures and the world itself. Because it kind of felt like Finding Nemo. Like Finding Nemo, like, okay, there's this world, but it's a cartoon. There's all these fish talking and living in this particular world on their own. Kind of a society as we live up here, but down there. But it's a cartoon. That's kind of how it felt. And like even the creatures and crabs and those giant, sea life that you're like, wow, big giant things that we, down there and living and having their own, and obviously they ride sharks and things of that nature. By the way, I kept thinking throughout the movie, because they established it in in Justice League, Arthur Curry, he jumps in the water and just takes off like 1,000 knots or whatever the naval term is. He just swims at an incredible speed. Why do they need a shark to ride? Once again, this is here nor there. I mean, this doesn't do anything. It doesn't hurt the plot or anything. But I kept thinking, why are they riding a horse? If we can run as fast as a horse on land, why do we need a horse to ride? So if they can swim as fast as they can, why do they need a horse or a sea urchin or a whatever, like a seahorse or why do they ride that? They should just be like their companion, right? Is it just because it's a mouth, like so when they're in battle you can have a shark mouth, eat people? But like I said, if that's the case, then just have them be on your side and you swim next to them anyway. But that's okay. The cast. I liked Jason Momoa in Justice League. I did not think I would. I really didn't think I would. I remember going, ugh. I wasn't really a fan of Momoa, period, up through to Justice League. And I remember seeing the first trailers in Justice League, and he had the line, just like a bat, I dig it. I actually laughed at that. I like that. And after watching the movie, though I wasn't a fan of the movie, but I was like, I like what they were doing. I mean, it kind of makes sense too. I mean, if he's, I mean, at least in a particular way, if that's the way they were going with it, like, okay, he's a Aquaman, so he's an ocean guy, ocean surfer dudes, hey, whatever, long hair, tattoos, all this kind of stuff like that. So I see where they're going with that, and I think it worked. I liked his attitude because, I mean, you have to have some contrast. I mean, you got two brooding characters, one of them with Batman and Superman, which, why is Superman brooding? But he was. And then, you got a quippy dude like the Flash, and then you got, the strong female, really the leader in Wonder Woman. So to have kind of a slightly off color, different character, I thought was fitting. Anyway, the point is that he's more of the same in this particular movie, which was good for me. I like I said, I really liked him. What's her name? Amber Heard. She was okay. I mean, I didn't seem like there was anything horrible or distracting from it. Willem Dafoe. See, he was all right, but he was just, to me, he felt like he was just there. Patrick Wilson, as I mentioned before, he was good as the counterpoint to Arthur Curry. Like I said, he's the antagonist. And he was fine. I didn't see anything. He didn't jump off the screen to me as anything spectacular, but he did his job well. The one character that I really didn't like at all was Black Manta, and it was a bummer because I was kind of looking forward to him because in one of the trailers when they were in the city or in that town and he was shooting the lasers out of his eyes and stuff. I thought this guy might be pretty cool. And all that stuff was cool. Once again, the action was fun, but the problem was it was just so short-handed, that character. It was like he was doing things at the beginning that wasn't noble. Matter of fact, it was downright terrorizing. And something happens at the beginning, and Arthur Curry kind of turns a blind eye to it, and now he's angry. How can you turn a blind eye to my needs when I was going to blow you up? I mean, that's not what he's going to do, but I was going to hurt you and other people. And now that I'm in a situation, a dire need for some help, and you say no thank you. So screw you. And that doesn't, to me, it just wasn't very good motivation. And I mean, he hates his guts through this movie. Like, well, fuck, dude, what do you expect? You're a terrorist. I'm sorry. So anyway, that was probably the worst part. I was like, man, I don't buy into your motivation at all. You're mad because somebody didn't help you out. So if they would have helped you out, what would you have done? Continued your mission, killed Arthur, and then continued to do your bad stuff? So what? But anyway, who else was in this? Nicole Kidman. She was fine. She's in it. She's in it a short amount of time. Buddy, that played Jango Fett, played his father. He was fine. He was, he didn't have much of a role either, but he did fine in it. So the cast was it was okay. What else is there? I don't know. It was just a fun movie. I guess that's pretty much it. I don't want to take all day on it. I guess I'll just say, continue as far as I really think this is a good step for DC. As I mentioned before, it feels like this is a standalone movie. And I think that's good for DC right now. Me, I'm a proponent of I like the cinematic universes, where I know some people are kind of poo-pooing on it right now, kind of saying it might be getting a little burned out, or the way I feel about that is we've been waiting for so long, at least since '78, the original Superman the movie. I know when I was a kid, there was always discussions. Do you think Batman will be in a Superman movie and vice versa, or do you think they'll make an X-Men movie? No, they'll never make an X-Men movie. That's too crazy. Or if they did make X-Men, you think Fantastic Four might be in it, or do you think that? And then when it finally happens, we're excited, and then 10 years go by and we go, okay, I'm done with it. Well, I don't want to look a gift horse in the mouth. I'm not saying it can get worn thin, but like I said, we've been waiting forever for this kind of things to happen. So I'm going to appreciate it as long as it's here, because it may not last forever. The Western didn't last forever. Grunge music didn't last forever. Some things will die, as probably this genre will, even though it's not happening anytime soon. So that's a good deal. But as far as this goes, I think this is a good idea to just, I guess, make that one small reference that apparently I missed, and just make a movie. It's the Marvel way. And when I say the Marvel way, I don't mean literally Marvel. It's just because that's how they kind of did it. They started it off. So it's not like your movie has to be like Marvel movies structured story-wise. It's just, I remember watching Collider Movie Talk or AMC Movie Talk, whatever it was at the time. Once again, John Campea. And I remember them saying, why does DC have to do it like Marvel? They don't have to do it like Marvel. Well, apparently they do. And the only thing that means to me is, once again, you don't have to, it's not story structure. You don't have to do it, make the movies like they made them. It's the way you did it. They thought about, really two movies. I was about to say one movie. They thought about make Iron Man, and then because they made The Incredible Hulk almost, because it was released shortly after. Focus on those. If they work, make another one. And then another one, and then lightly start to sprinkle in. And even though I do know they had the tag or the coda at the end of Iron Man, but that was kind of like, that this may not work, so it's whatever. Let's just put it in there and see how people react to it. But as they start to succeed, you start to sprinkle more in, and then you eventually get to the Avengers and so on and so forth. That's all I mean. So with this, started as like a singular movie, small little hints, and then go into Shazam, which looks, actually, I said I didn't anticipate this movie. I do have some anticipation for Shazam, simply because it looks completely different from everything thus far, including Aquaman, though it doesn't have a Zack Snyder feel to it as much as the other ones, including like Wonder Woman. This Shazam looks like I don't know who's directing it, but they look like they gave him carte blanche. Just do what you want. And that's interesting. That looks real fun to me. So, and if that turns out, and then you go into the Wonder Woman 84, whatever it is, and then start to really try to build up again. And so, in closing, I'll say, because I was kind of leading to that, I think it was a good movie. I think it was a fun movie, which is important. And I think it's in a good step for DC. Now, with that said, they're slowly winning me back over. Now, like I mentioned, I do have some anticipation for Shazam. But I'm not like chomping at the bit. When it comes out, I'm like, oh, whatever month it's coming out. When is it going to be? So the anticipation is still light for DC stuff now, but this here has started to remedy that. And if Shazam is good, and then Wonder Woman is good, and then, whatever, Black Adam or whatever they're going to do next, then you're going to start to get me, just like Marvel Studios did. Because, everybody was getting a little tired of Marvel. I mean, Spider-Man 3 wasn't doing it. The X-Men 3 wasn't doing it. So it can happen with anybody, and it's just about doing it correctly. And this is starting to right that ship, starting to change course. And with people like James Wan. And by the way, congratulations to him. I really love a good story. I love the fact that this guy started out by making a small short film called Saw, which turned into a feature film called Saw, and then he just worked hard, and now he's, for better or worse, whatever you think about this movie, he made a superhero film. So congratulations to you. That's great. But yeah. So I'm hoping that Shazam is good and Wonder Woman's good and whatever else they do is good, because listen, competition works. Competition keeps everybody honest. I mean, if anybody knows wrestling, you know, when WWE lost its competition, they just slid. They just took a plummet. So no one wants DC to fail. You might prefer one than the other, but nobody wants to see it fail. And then, I mean, I would hope nobody wants to see Marvel, you know, fail either, if they're a fan of the genre. Anyway, so with that said, like I said, really cool movie. Glad that it's you know, it's really coming into its own, and here's to more good DC movies. So anyway, so if you liked this video, then please leave a like, a subscribe, hit the little bell to be notified for more reviews. Leave a comment if you want. You know, it's always nice to know that someone is seeing it in the small little corner of YouTube where I reside, because, you know, I am a small YouTuber, and so any kind of feedback, any kind of information to let me know that someone is enjoying it really does good. Does a body good, as the old milk commercials would say. So anyway, thank you so very much for watching. Until the next review, have a good one. Bye-bye.